Hey guys, Zen here, and today we're back with 4 huge game updates for Rainbow Six Siege. So by now, we're all aware of most of the big changes coming with Operation Shifting Tides, Siege's final season of year 4. And so in this video, I'm bringing you guys the latest game updates, news, and changes, but also those ever so sweet thoughts. Considering this is the last season of year 4, what happens here will carry into year 5 and kick off a brand new full year of content for Rainbow Six Siege. So yeah, this video is a roundup and what I think. Let's get into it, guys. Now, the most popular and also somewhat controversial update has to be the addition of the ACOG to the Boss G. So for those of you unaware, yes, both Dokkaebi and Vigil now have access to the ACOG on the Boss G, and as you can imagine, there's a couple of different opinions on the change. For starters, this is toying with the idea of 3 speeds having ACOG again. Vigil is a 3-speed operator, one tailor-made to roam at that, and in the past, we've seen how devastating 3 speeds can be with an ACOG. For my veteran players out there, I'm sure you can remember a time when either Jaeger or Bandit spawn peeked you with those ACOGs back when they had access to them and then just ran away with their 3 speed to a safe spot on site. It really was a different meta entirely. Well, now that same kind of thing is possible. Even if it's much more challenging to get kills with the Boss G over something like the MP7, it's still possible, and there are some people who just aren't for that. Even if it did just start as a meme, it's now here, and it can only really be looked at as a buff to both of these operators. Now, I think the change was made for 2 main reasons. The first is to obviously make the Boss G more appealing to these operators and hopefully get more people choosing the weapon over their other primaries. And the second, specifically for Vigil, to offer up a weapon that can compete with the CSRX of Kali. Now, no other weapon in the game is capable of sitting an operator down in one shot every time like Kali's sniper, but it is possible for the Boss G. Maybe not every operator at any range every time like Kali, but it is possible. So I think to give defense a bit more of a fighting chance, the update was made to the weapon, and now we can officially have the battle of the single shot downs. Personally, I've actually always wanted this to be a reality for the Boss G, because it has just always seemed like the weapon was made to have an ACOG. Back when the SMG-11 had an ACOG, I think most people could agree that it just felt super OP. But here with the Boss G, it just feels natural, like it should have always had it. And just being honest, it makes the weapon more fun to use in general. So yeah, I wanted to spend some time on this one, guys, because it is the first time ever since Jaeger and Bandit lost their ACOGs that we're seeing it on a 3-speed operator, which is big. In year 5, we may see new 3-speed defenders that launch with ACOGs because the rule has essentially changed. Now, will it be available on weapons as good as the 416 or K1A? Probably not, but the fact that it's here does say a lot about where that policy stands. But of course, how do you guys feel about the ACOG on Boss G? Are you a fan? Will it change your primary loadout for either Vigil or Dokkaebi as a result? Let us know your thoughts down below. Moving on, we must make time for my main, Kaid. And if thoughts don't interest you, I have a massive tip for anyone who wants to make the most of his most recent buff, and it's a big one, so don't miss it. So the radius for Kaid's Electroclaw has been increased significantly. To get to the point, he's able to electrify more things from further away, and to be even more specific, he can now shock 3 walls all at once with 1 claw. Do you remember that tip I mentioned? Well, allow a Kaid main to teach Kaid. Let's jump in. So if you guys want the perfect way to always guarantee that you'll get all 3 walls with 1 claw, I thought I'd show you how a Kaid main goes about this. So as you can see, all 3 walls are up, but if you look closely, you'll notice these brass looking buttons directly in the center of the reinforced wall. Now, I want you to treat these buttons like a target, and when push comes to shove or the pressure is on, you can aim for any one of these buttons high or low on the wall and guarantee all 3 walls be electrified. Now, are we breaking the internet here? No. We're making light of how to be consistent here with this new mechanic, and consistency, especially in the hard breach, is key in Rainbow Six Siege. But to be honest, we should all aim to be consistent in our personal lives. It can only make you a better gamer. Outside of that massive change, Kaid also received his barbed wire back, losing the impacts, and as you can imagine, I almost lost control with joy and excitement over this. Kaid now has his trap utility back and is able to cover more surface area. I genuinely believe he's one of the best and most valuable operators you can pick each round at this point, and I hope we can get comfortable with him like this for a while. Now, yes, Kaid has been available for a year, but I think each season since, he's seen some kind of change, whether it's a buff or a nerf, and he's actually changed a lot since release. But where he's at with this meta, I think is perfect. Let's continue. So Warden and Jackal both saw change, and for me, they're honestly both still kind of doomed. Warden got C4, which is great, and I think suits the operator perfectly, but he still has a pretty severe movement penalty. Now, in my last video, we showed off the new buff to Glass, and the fact is, he really doesn't need to stand still anymore to see through smoke. Warden still does, and so yes, having that C4 will help with getting kills, but I don't think it'll help with the pick rate much. Although Warden being a 2-speed 2 armor has been nice. Jackals Rework, on the other hand, is here, and it definitely serves its purpose, but while playing ranked on the test server, he's still banned just as much. I really haven't seen any difference there. The rework was mainly put in motion because of Jackal's ban rate and to just tone back his ability a bit, and honestly, I'd say it was a success. Jackal is less frustrating to play against, but his utility is still so strong that people still ban him, and I'm not really sure what can be done about that. This stuff is still in testing, and so before I rant, I want to let it settle for longer, but again, ranked has felt exactly the same, at least during the ban phase, so I'm not sure how much of an impact this has actually made. Next up, our third update is actually for year 5. So a bunch of posts made it up on the internet recently going over some supposed leaks for year 5. Now, to be honest, there really aren't any leaks for the next year of content. More so, we know that next year will feature more reused weapons, and that's really it. The G36C could potentially be coming for a new operator in Season 1, but there is actually quite a few other weapons that could be reused. Even the MP5 was mentioned. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but ultimately, this is interesting to know that we may see more content being reused through year 5 as well. I know a lot of you guys want to see all new content all the time, and I won't lie, I'm in the same boat, but when you realize the mountain of content you have to account for and how adding just one weapon could change everything about balance and the meta, it really puts it into perspective. I would rather have a really balanced, fine-tuned experience over new content needing to be fixed or balanced constantly, and I think that's kind of where the devs are at. We did also learn a while back that there could be a legal limit to the amount of guns available in the game, so for me, if there's only a few spots each year for new weapons, I'd rather unique stuff like the CSRX to take those spots. If you guys want, we can go into more detail about this topic in particular in another video, so let me know. I'd be happy to do it for you guys. Finally here, for our last update, well, it's finally happened. Ubisoft is removing Skyscraper from the ranked rotation. Now, for me, this is a big deal because Skyscraper has been on my list of maps in desperate need of a rework for a while now. The fact is that neither site on the first floor is comfortable to defend, with Bedroom in particular being nearly impossible to keep attackers out of, and the second floor office site is just too accessible to the attackers from either side. In my experience, it almost always goes to overtime on this map because the two teams are always fighting over the two main sites, and the rest of the map just goes to waste. Now, Skyscraper isn't the most in need of change. There is still Favela, Yacht, and Bartlett University that I think are still ahead in that category, but it does need some love. And hey, maybe for year 5, we get a season with Skyscraper as the rework. Now, of course, it's been replaced by the theme park rework, and not for nothing, the visual upgrades look incredible, easily the best out of all the reworks, but the map itself feels like 100 rooms and hallways, and I have heard this feedback from others, so I know some people kind of feel this way as well. I think removing the train was definitely the play, but keeping in all of the rooms surrounding it and also even adding some, I think, just feels super cluttered, which is surprising for also adding in a super long range sniper operator at the same time. Where year 3 brought us a lot of big maps with long hallways and a lot of space like Fortress and Hereford and all that, the devs seem to be tightening things up, at least from the inside of these maps here in year 4. Canal feels tight, Theme Park feels tight, and Outback is one of the smaller, more condensed maps in the pool as well. So again, a lot smaller than most of year 3. Of course, Theme Park needs more playtime, right? Like, it is only the test server, but it's more the direction of the maps, I suppose, is my worry, more so than the final results. But that's the video, guys. A big update roundup and everything I wanted to talk about. We've got some major videos releasing here on the channel coming up, and I'm really looking forward to it, as well as some other really big things we've breezed over in the past, and I can't thank you enough for the support, so thanks a bunch, guys. But I want to hear from you. Do you think the Boss G should have access to the ACOG moving forward? And what other maps need to be taken out of ranked? Leave everything in a comment down below. If you did enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. With that being said, it's been Zen. I'm out.